Okay, I'm very camera shy and everything, so I'm gonna give this a whirl, but yeah, this is just a rough cut, so I want some help from all of you. So many of you may be thinking, what's going on? Who is this guy and everything? What do I want to tell you? And what's been going on in my life for the last year has been so crazy, and you're probably not gonna believe what I'm going to tell you and reveal, but I'd appreciate if all of you, before you judge what I'm about to tell you in the next series of, I guess, video, whatever, interviews or self-interview of what I'm trying to explain to you, but yeah, bear with me and Google and research what I'm trying to tell you, because I think it is very important for you. In fact, it is so important that I've had so many threats from so many different people about what I'm about to tell you. So here we go. Over the last year, I've woken up to the reality that sadly is so bad that I had no idea, and I don't really know what is true and what is false, and I would like your help to disseminate and understand what's going on in my life and what's going on in the world and what's going on with the species of humans that we think we are, I guess. So this is going to be a difficult, rough cut, and I would like some help trying to piece together and find more evidence, because I've been coming across so much information that it is just hard for me to handle. Daily I'm overwhelmed with information about what I've learned, and it's very disturbing, and it's so sick, and some of it is so disgusting that I don't really even know how any of this continues and it doesn't break down. But maybe they've concealed themselves and hidden this from us for so long that we've just become, I guess, controlled to the point where censorship is taken over. Okay, so over the last year, what happened to me, I will back it up and say that I'm very high up MK Ultra victim. Now, for not to hurt anybody or to try to get people to understand that I'm not trying to cause more damage, other than trying to help you all understand what's going on and what I've learned so far. So as a preamble, just to warn some of you who are also like me, MK Ultra victims, I think it is based on intent, but there are triggers, and some of you have been programmed. If you're Rhesus negative, most likely you are MK Ultra victim like myself. It depends. There's certain levels and degrees. I believe that A and B negative, all of these three are the most controllable and most triggered for this sort of MK Ultra programming. So for that, I will just use the TI as like targeted individual. That's what targeted individual I think is all about. These people complaining about electronic torture from scalar weapons, EMF weapons from either satellites or from people with boxes, or even handsets, or from the local telephone communication systems that seem to go right through any cement brick walls, even inside of heavy buildings full of wires and all other sorts of signals. They can reach right through to your telephone, and they can probably control you with it too. So to not trigger anyone, I will just tell you that I think that one of the keys to not be triggered is by first off intent of the individual who's saying it, so I don't have any intention to hurt you, and I don't want anything bad to happen to you. So that is one thing. The other thing is that the intention of the people who use these triggers and the triggers of themselves are called NLP, neuro linguistic programming system, that they use for triggering. And this NLP, I believe, some also will use Fabian system. So these words, or even they're using command actions. They're trying to control you with command words, verbs, like, anything, like you tell a dog sit, roll over, whatever. All these kind of verbs, they can be used for this programming. It depends on the way they say the commands to you, and they will have certain trigger phrases for this sort of thing. So these triggers, if you want to stop them, I think I think work for me, I'm not sure, but I've been trying to test it out, is that you say it backwards, or you visualize like numbers or symbols that they use. You can visualize them backwards or upside down, and that seems to stop this command that they do, because everything is inverted. Like if you see the people, these devil worshippers, they have their crosses upside down and it's black, but the Christian crucifix is white and it's right side up. So they are inverting all of these things. So I think that, and I've read many articles, and I can post them in the preamble for this to start out with, is that they're inversions. And you, like the swastika is inverted Hindu symbol of peace. So these people who want to use these things for evil, they will invert them and they will turn them upside down or to the side, or twisted and to the side. It depends. There's so many different versions that they use. And now who are these groups who are doing this? Now that we can start, I believe that actually we're living in a controlled environment, and it could be so crazy as to be totally way different than what we think. We live on a round planet and all this stuff. I'm not going to go into my theories on this too much, but I do believe we live in a breeding colony now that I've done my research, and I will try to explain to you what's going on throughout history and what is going on between bloodlines and genetics and all these things you're seeing now in the media and the TV with the elite, and what was going on throughout history, the wars, the conflicts in history have been based on basically bloodlines and feuds between certain bloodlines and what's going on the planet and different races and groups. You can see in the facial genetic structure of most people, there's a 9-point genetic facial recognition system that you all know now about with Facebook that can recognize your picture. So these sort of recognition systems are also part of our genetic codes. And if you see, many of us have different types of faces. We even have 2 different types of bloodlines, and then there's different types of DNA sets, haplogroups, haplotypes. These are, then there's D antigens, RHD antigens. Some people have it and some people don't. Some of these, these are very important for the people who are suffering in cancer right now, for people who have a bad dietary practice, who have mental afflictions, or like even schizophrenia. And some of these things that are happening to you can be caused by this. It could be caused by government programs. It could be caused by many different things. It's hard to pinpoint for everybody because we don't really know, and there's not really a movement of people trying to help each other on these kind of things. So I want to go over some of what has been revealed to me since I've been waking up, and I want you to try to research and not judge me for what I'm saying to you, but I want you to really take this seriously, because actually the whole planet is under, I call, a magic spell. Now, you can argue with me and say that these things are not really going on, but if you look throughout history, there's all cultures have talked about these archons, and I don't like to use that word because that actually means ruler and it's giving them power over us, but we could call them parasites. So these parasites are like the unseen world that we live in. Like there, God created the seen world that you see now, and then there's the unseen world. Now the unseen world, like you've seen all these movies about exorcisms and demon possession and all these horror movies and all this stuff. Where does all this stuff come from in Hollywood? All this symbolism, all of a sudden people are becoming possessed. They're like, Hollywood actors are complaining about these programs and that they're, you know, fighting for their soul, and all these songs in the radio selling your soul, the, you know, that you made a deal with the devil. All these kind of things are basically, in my opinion, part of the Archon system, which is to try to live off your fear. They're trying to basically parasite your energy, your life force, your source energy that is in your genetics, it's in your blood. And some people maybe have almost none, some people have a lot, and this is why some of you are targeted, based on the fact that there are some of you that have the light in you, whatever you want to call it. You could call it Jedi power, whatever. This kind of light source energy in your genetic code is real, and there is entities that do feed off of it, and they try to scare you. And right now we are going through a phase where we are going to have a very confrontational experience with these entities, because they can take over your body. Like if you are very weak, they can take over, and that's what you see all of these Hollywood movies and music videos and all these things where people look like they're different. They're acting completely different, they're acting negative, they're having a negative, everything about them is negative in that sense, and that's because of this Archon system that they've created. It's this parasitic system, and it goes in all institutions. It's in the banking, it's in the government, it's in the media, it's everywhere. It's in your family, it's in your friend groups, it's everywhere, and you have to be aware of it, and you have to try to understand what it is and how to overcome it. So that is the first part. Now I'm running out of time on this take, but we're gonna do a couple run-throughs, and I want to try to cover as much as I can to help you understand. And this is a rough cut, so I'm going to try to make a professional, semi-professional documentary about all this information so that you can understand what is really going on. I believe that I've understood, and what I've come in contact with now. It is very scary sometimes, but you have to believe God has a different plan, and that these entities and these parasites and these systems are going to fail at some point, because they cannot live without this source energy, and they cannot live without good people on the planet still. So there is still hope for those of you who think that it's hopeless and that things will never get better. God has got a plan, and these people and their agenda and what they've been doing to us for centuries, if not for eons, who knows? Really, it could go back so far. So I'm running out of time. To wrap this clip up, I just want to tell you that, you know, God has shown me for a long time, and I was so unaware. I'm 31 years old now, and I'm really shocked to know that this could have happened to me, and it can happen to any of us. So just be prepared.